Okay, we're going to talk about the visibility graphics dialog box. So we'll just have a go at that now. All right. This is the. I just opened up a file here that we created earlier. I just want to show you the roof layout here. What I want to check, I'm pretty sure I put some openings in here, except I can't see them. So I just want to check where they are, and I want to see that in 3D. All right, so if I go to 3D here, the roof is in the way, so I can't see it. A couple of things we can do, we can make the roof transparent, say, but then there might be a ceiling underneath which is not transparent, so probably best to turn some, what I would call, in inverted commas, layers off. They're not really layers, it doesn't use layering, but it uses components that you can turn off. So basically they work like this. So if we go to VV, or VG is a shortcut, it'll bring up the visibility graphics. Alright, so here is where you can turn off certain things. So if we have ceilings, we can turn them off. Obviously we've got walls and they can be turned off from down here. Alright, so if you can have a look here, it doesn't actually differentiate between different types of walls, so they're all walls. So if you turn off one wall, they all go off. So it hasn't got like the timber studs separate to the double brick wall, for example, or the external wall. So I want to go to the roof. I'm going to type RO, so it takes me close enough to it. All right, so that's another way of doing it. Or you can scroll up and down. Here's the roof. I want to turn off all the roofs, and certain things have more. Like for example, if we had gutters on there, we can turn off the gutters separately. We will have gutters a bit later on. Show you those as well. So let me just turn off everything to do with roof. So I'll go OK there. Notice up here we've got the model categories, and then we've got the annotation categories. Annotation would include things like the section labels, the elevation labels, text, notes, all that sort of stuff will be annotation category. So, you know, and they relate to different things as well. So, all right, so that's that. And imported categories will be here. If we have stuff that we brought in, like an external file, like a CAD file or another Revit file, it'll be in there. Okay, so we can, that because I already turned off the roof. Now I can see here. Now the reason this looks solid is because my view range is taken from probably around about just above that. So it looks like there's a solid wall there in plan view. So I need to check a couple of things. And the other thing, if we go back to the plan, which is this one here, notice there were some windows over here in 3D, but there were not any windows shown on the plan. So those windows are not showing up either. So that's the view range. So a couple of things we need to correct. Okay. First we need to fix this up. So how do we do it? Well, let's have a look. If I go around here, I can't really pick them up. Sometimes you can. Where you get tab. There you go. If I tab, hang around tabbing, I can click on there and get it. But I prefer to do this through the, a bit more visual. Look at it through the 3D. So I did get it there, but I'll show you how to grab it from here. So if I hang around there, I get it like that, or I can hang around there and tab and get it. So however you manage to get that. So what I can see here in the properties, which is actually, I'll just put that over here for a minute. Okay, and properties is all this. So what we can see here, sorry, nothing. I got it. Okay, what we can see here is that it's basically not on the ground, it's below ground for a start. So make that 0, enter. And if I apply that at that point, that's what it looks like. It goes through up to the ceiling really. Our ceiling is 2700. So I didn't want it that big, I wanted it about 2040, which is the same height as the doors. So if I apply that, that's what it looks like. So it's come down. Same with this. And I could probably do more than one if I just, there's another one here somewhere. Control key, if I can add that, there you go. So we can do them all at the same time. 0 and 2040. And we'll press apply, and then it picks up. If I go to ground floor, I can see them in plane, but I still can't see the windows, and then there's a window there, all right? So that's up high. If we have a look at the northern elevation, that's my window up there. Well, here's one that's not right either. Okay, so that one there is not right. Southern elevation, that one seems right. It should be on about 580. So we should do the north one the same. You can click on here and change that anytime. Let's go 580, enter. That should drop that down. So that's looking good on the elevation. So you need to be checking all directions all the time when you're dealing with 3D, okay? So these are up there already. They've been fixed up. If they were already lower, as they sometimes come in, they're already fixed. But the problem with that now, they've been thrown up above the view range. So when you have a ground floor, you are looking at normally at about 1200 cut plane, and they are unfortunately above the 1200. So for us to show them in this plan, we need to look at our, we need to have nothing highlighted, so we're actually adjusting the properties of the view, of this view, which is the ground floor, all right? So the properties of this view are these. In the view range here, you can click edit, and it tells us that it's 1200, so we can change that to 1600 and see if that is any better. And there you go. You can see these windows now. So we just lifted ourselves a bit higher, which is good. Okay, so that fixes that up, and you can turn things on and off any way you like. For example, if you didn't want the doors, again VV and doors, off they go, and there's no doors. Right, so you can turn them off like that. I undo that. Okay, so that fixes that. And if we go now back to our 3D, if you want your roof back on, it's just a matter of turning it back on. So it's VV. And of course, when you're working, generally you want to have one view that you're going to use for plotting, for example, and one that you might want to have for looking through without the roof, for example. So you can have many. So you can have one like this, or you can duplicate this. So you can go right click, and you can go duplicate. This one here. There's no detailing as such, so it doesn't matter which one we use. So here it is. So we can have this one here, for example. This might be the one we plot, and we can rename that to 3D view, right, without the hash there. Okay, so okay that. So now this one here I'll make however I want to see it on my sheet of paper. So if, for example, you're going by the example I've given you online, you should look a bit like that. So you might want to just fix it up and go VV, turn the roof on, RO, and turn that on, and it look like that. And of course you can muck around with all this stuff and just have different ways of displaying it. Okay, so however you look at it there, that's how it's going to print on the sheet. That's the idea. Alright, so that's basically those two things. We need to still talk about the footing for those of you that have not done that, and the slab, and I have updated all the instructions as well, which includes that in the instructions. Was there something else we need to look at apart from that before that? Yes, there was, and that was in relation to these openings. We haven't actually showed you how to create the openings as yet, officially, although some of you have already done it. So basically it's under the architecture, wall opening, and you can, what it says down the bottom here is select a wall to create a rectangular opening in. So let's just pick another one up just for the exercise. Just put one through here. So first I pick on the wall, then it tells me enter starting point. I'm looking at the bottom in the status bar, starting point of rectangular opening. So where am I going to put it? Okay, well I'll just put it somewhere. That looks like it was a bit small, that one. Let's do it again. What you need to do is, as I said, click the wall, and then the starting point, you click, hold and drag. So you can come out of here as much as you like, but it's only going to stay within the wall. It's not going to be any wider as such. So you can make it as big as you want, and like anything we do, we can go back and change it afterwards. So here I can modify that if I want that 900, get that position happening, and if I wanted a peerless spot from the corner, I can also change that. Alright, so we can do that. But what have we done? Now let's have a look. We escape that and modify to finish that, and we can just pick this here now. Let's see what we got. Again, it's ended up in the wrong spot. So you can, and it's all sorts of numbers. So if we have a look at that in our 3D, which is formatted without the roof now, look what I've done here. It's not that good. So we need to have that at 0, and that at 0, and that maybe to 0 for 0, and apply that. So that's a bit better. All right. So that's what you need to do with that. Hit the button, select the wall, and then do your rectangle by holding and dragging. Okay. So that's the opening, and that's how you change it later. All right. I'll leave that little segment there, and I'll export that out, and we'll do another one in a minute.